So in this video, I'm going to talk about measures of central tendencies. First of all, what is mean? Mean basically is average. So the mean of a set of data is the sum of the data value divided by the number of the value. So for example, Marcy's exam score for her last math classes were 39, 86, 82, and 94. The mean of this score would be, so we need to sum this up, 79 plus 86 plus 82 plus 194. And then divided by how many tests she's been taking. She took 4 tests, right? So you divide it by 4, and then you will get the mean of her score. You can calculate that by scientific calculator. So you have 85.25. So another example is the number of the touchdown passes through by each of the 31 teams in National Football League in 2000 season, and shown below. That's the touchdown score, and this time I want to use a decimal to find the mean, which is very interesting. Let me show you in here. So on the graph, I may go to decimals. Oops. So once you click on decimals and then you hit graphing calculator, and then there's on the upper tab that you can tap add an item and choose table, or you can choose a set. So usually I would type in the table and then input all the datas. 31, 13.2, 13.2, 13.3, sorry. I'm going to pause the video and start inputting the data in it. Okay, I just done entering the data. So totally 13 data, but they hit 20 data, which is fine. So what you would do is on the lower left corner, you will see a keyboard. Choose show the keyboard, and then there's a function, pick function, and then choose statistic, mean. How do you find the mean? So since this name of the data is called x1, so you want to find the mean of s1, and then we'll show you here, which is 20.145. 20.145. You can round it to the 2 closest number. Okay. So that's how you use decimal to do that. Okay, so now let's go back to our lesson. So now last example is the 100 families in particular neighborhood are asked their annual household income to the nearest $5,000. The results are summarized in the frequency table like that. This is in $1,000. So $15,000, there are 6 people or 6 households earned $15,000, and the A household earned $20,000, and so on. So extending of the last example, suppose a new, they want you to find mean. I think I forgot to write it down. So how do you find mean in this case? Given the frequency table. So this could be tricky if we try to type in all 100 value. So because we know that, hey, there's a 15 people, there are 6 house earned 15,000. So we may end up to, okay, add 6 15s together. And then now we add another 8 20s together. That would be a hazard. That's a lot. What you would do is, since this, you add in 6 times 15 together. So that is equivalent to what? 15 times 6. Add 20 times 8. And then add 25 times the frequency, which is 11, at 13 times 17, 13.5 times 19 at 14 times 20 at 14.5 times 12, and then at 15 times 7. And totally, how many households they surveyed? 100. So you divide it by 100 households. So the result should be, use your calculator, you will end up to get 3,319 divided by 100. So on average, the household income of the sample is $33.9 thousand, which is, you can write it in this way. Okay, so now look at here. So extending of the last example, suppose a new family moves into the neighborhood, has the household income of 5 million. Wow, that's equivalent to 5,000. That's a lot. Adding to our sample. So our mean now will change, right? So from the previous calculation, we know that the total sum of that previous 100 neighborhood, like families, earns 3,319. Now you need to add 5,000 thousands on top of it. And now you no longer divide it by 100. You're going to divide it by 100 at 1, because now you have 101 families in that neighborhood. So the mean is going to be 83,000.69. So as you can see, this is the right mean, but this is no longer represent the typical value, because the family who earns 5 million drag in all the data to the other scale. So take a look. Imagine the data value on the seesaw on a balance scale like that. The mean is the value that keeps the data in balance, like the picture below. Okay, so if the graph of our data, we add a 500 in here, so the balance scale have to shift to the right to keep things in balance. So what would be a better way to represent the data if something like that happened? We will introduce a new concept. It's called median. So the median of a set of data is the value of the middle. When the data is, in order to find the median, begin by listing the data in order from the smallest one to the largest one, or the largest to the smallest one. If the number of data value n is odd, then the median is the middle value. And if the value can be found is even, so would be that these two add them together and divided by 2. Okay, I am going to show you examples. Let's do this one. So find the median of this score. So now let's take a look. The first step is you need to rearrange the data from the smallest one to the largest one. 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 6. And then we have 2, 7. I'm missing 1 5. So now I need to add another 5 here. So that's why it's really important for you to just cross the number once you use it. 8 and 10. How many data? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So totally 9 data. So we know that the median should be the middle one, which is, for an odd number, is really easy. You just use 9 at 1 divided by 2. So which means the fifth data would be your median. So this is first data, second, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means our data should be this one. Oops. 6 should be our median. So what if there's one more student just adding to the class? So it's the same, and then he's scoring like, say, 3. we add a 3 to this data set. We add a 3. To this data set. So now we have the size of data become 10, so that we have what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So now we have 10 entries. So the median should be the middle two and then divided by 2. So would be our 5th and 6th data and divided by 2, which is 5.5. So the median of this one, if it's an even number, if it's an even, there's no middle value if it's an even. So we need to find the mean of 2 middle value, which is the 5th and the 6th data, the sum of them, and then divided by 2. So this is our median for the even data set, and this is our median for the odd data set. Okay, so now let's return to our original household income data. So since now we know that we have 100 data, so how do we find the median? So the median must be occurred at the 15th and the 15th month. And then you need to divide it by 2, since this is an even number, right? So how do we find out the 15th and 15th data? You don't want to list all of the data together. Since this is really nicely ordered, the frequencies, so we can find which one is happened on the 15th. So 6 at 8, you have what? 14. So not there. And then when it comes to here, at the end of the 25th, whose income is 25th, we have you add another 20, add another 11 to 14, then you have 25 data, and then you add a 17. So here the totally would be what? 14.2. And then in here at the end of this data you have what? 61. So this should be your 14th data. The last 16 month data should be 13.5. So that means what? The number 15th data is 13,500, and then the other 15th data, 15th, what the heck? Oh, also be 13,500. So that means the average would be what? You add them together and divide it by 2. So you should be able to find the median is also 13,500. That's how you find it if you have a frequency table. Okay, so now there's a concept of mode. So the mode is the observed value of the dataset that occurs the most frequently. So in our vehicle survey, we connect the data like that, the most frequent, the collision data that we had. So which one is the most frequently happened? The green one, right? So we call this is our mode. Okay. So here's an example. So the reviewer were asked to rate the product on the scale 1 to 5 to find out, we want to find out the mean rating, the median rating, and the mod rating. So the mode should be the easier one. So let's look at what is the highest frequencies occurs. Rating 2, right? I mean, let's say 2 stars. So mode should be the 2 star. So what would be the mean? How do you find mean? So there are totally how many ratings we got? 4 as we add this all together, so we have 12, 19, 22, 23. So the frequency, the number of the people surveyed is 23. And now let's find out the mean. Remember how to find the means? So the mean should be 1 times 4 at the rating, 2 times 8 at 3 times 7 at 4 times 3 at 5 times 1. and then divided by 23. So calculated by calculator, this is equal to 58 divided by 23. So the mean should be rounded to one nearest burn place, which is 2.5. So the average rating should be 2.5. So now how do we find median? So the median rating, so since there are 23 data entry, so what would be the median? What's the place? Where is the place? So we use 23 at 1 divided by 2. So that should be the 12th data. So let's find out where is the 12th data. So this is our 4th data, which is rating at 1. At A, you have your 12th data after you add 8. So that means our median is equal to 2. Okay, so that's it for today. Very interesting. Let me know if you have other questions.